What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another Flesh and Blood video. And today I am joined by none other than Potch, your most recent Manila Battle Hardened champion. We noticed we got a little flash of something on your shirt there, man. What was that? What were you showing us there on your shirt?
Yeah, of course, as much as I love being the star of BH Manila, winning it all, but I have to shout out my team from Value Town.
All right, let's go, man. That's awesome. Did some of your teammates play in the event as well?
Yeah, actually, one of my teammates that we'll talk about later when we get to top 8 actually made top 4. And unfortunately, I had to knock him down. Syndra,
Okay.
Onyel, that was the one on stream right before mine. Yeah,
Yeah.
he reached top 4. Unfortunately, Victor versus Syndra is so lopsided, so I had to knock him down so I could get to the finals.
I mean, only one player can win, right? That's the unfortunate part
Yeah,
of playing teammates in the top four. That's so cool that one of your teammates made top four as well. So yeah, shout out to Value Town. Let's go. Putting two players in top eight of a battle hardened is very impressive. Um, so before we talk about your deck and get into everything, we've got the metagame breakdown from the Manila Battle Harden here. And, looking at the top four decks, you got Dio, Syndra, Gravy, Ira, three of those are matchups you probably want to see as a victor. But that Gravy Bones matchup, not really one you want to see. So, share with us your Swiss rounds, because I think there was over 200, or it's on the screen. I'm such an idiot. There was 238 players. So y'all played 9 rounds in Swiss. Is that right?
yeah, it was a marathon. It was a slog throughout the entire event. We started at 9 a.m. and to finish until the very finals, we had to stay up until 11 p.m. So it's like, how long was that? Like 14 hours flesh and blood, like
Wow.
non-stop grinding. But I guess before I go into my match, I'd like to talk a bit about the meta report.
Yeah, of course.
Uh, so to people who don't know, I am primarily a brute player. I play KO. So Victor and Guardians are my secondary class.
Okay.
But Victor is my side hoe, my dude. I play him from time to time, but my main man, I ride with KO. I love you, Eugene C, my fellow brute.
I really hope Eugene watches this. That's amazing. I'm sure he'll love the shout out. Oh,
Yeah.
so if you normally play KO, what led you to playing Victor at this event?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And I think from this meta spread, you could really tell why I think Victor was the play. We're coming into an unsure meta since Slippy and Gravy got some nerfs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm expecting with Slippy getting nerfed from Bonds of Agony getting removed from the game, aggro will rise up, which is especially seen with Dashayo and Syndra
Mm-hmm.
getting most of the representation throughout the weekend. Gravy will still be a powerhouse just because even with the bans, I think he's still a good hero. However, I think with the draw and discarding of Tipple as well as setting up your graveyard, essentially you'd need to play 2 cards to get the same effect. Now you'd need the card to discard, and now you'd need the card to play gold. You can't get both effects.
Mm-hmm.
So it would really either slow down Gravy's unstoppable horde of zombies, or let him run out of gas faster than usual. That would allow us Victor players to grind out the unstoppable value town train that is Gravy Bones until they finally brick and we could finally send our batter to a pulp that's been waiting in our arsenal to smash their compass.
Okay, so you feel like in a post-ban world, maybe it's not hopeless to play Victor and to Gravy Bones anymore. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think that their ally generation has gotten significantly slower, or they'll just brick significantly faster. And that will save you like 10 points of HP. The 10 points that you need to get breathing room, set up your estates, give 5 might to your batter, smash their compass, then win from there.
Okay. Awesome. I think there's going to be a lot of people who watch this on Friday that are very excited to hear that, maybe all hope is not lost because I'm one of those people. I have abandoned all hope on the gravy matchup in the past. So, I'm hearing it first and it gives me a lot of hope looking forward to, ProQuest season is right around the corner. So I think, a lot of Guardian players are going to be very happy to hear you say something like that.
Brother, it's time for you to get back on the Victor train. None of that puffin business.
Oh man, that's amazing. I have been playing Puffin, just like worried about ProQuest season, but I'm not gonna lie, man. You're really making me fight my urge to not play Victor at ProQuest season right now. You win a battle harden, you come on to do the interview. Like I'm here for it. You're telling me it's not unwinnable into gravy. You're really setting the bar high for me, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, right now I'm Victor's biggest hype man. He's the match fixer. I'm the guy with the mic screaming.
I love it, dude. I absolutely love it. So
Yeah.
taking a look at the rest of the tournament, there's a very diverse list of decks here. There's 10 Vincets, there's 11 Acilios, there's 12 KOs. KO is the fifth most represented deck at Manila, which personally was a little surprising because I think KO's got a pretty good spot in the meta right now, but that's not been the case for a lot of people recently. So to see such a diverse meta is really neat. Did you play against a pretty diverse list of heroes, or did you run into the same handful of heroes all day?
Yeah. So Manila, people like to call Manila the Wild West of the meta. As you can see, people are just playing what they want. There's one Max Nitro for all we know. So yeah, I guess I'll talk about my Swiss rounds right now.
Sure.
So my 9 matches throughout the day. My first one was Dash IO, so the
Okay.
most represented deck. The second one was a Marlin. So
Okay.
actually, some spicy things coming out. Both were wins. That game, I got to salvage it by using my one of copy of Staunch Response,
Oh, I love
and
this.
I got to finish the game at 1 HP for both of us until the Marlin finally ran out of cards and ran out of arrows.
Wow.
Yeah, so the one of copy Staunch Response saved the day.
Wow, that is so cool to
Uh,
hear.
Next up is Prism. This was a streamed game. I think it's aside from me being stupid and flashing into an ally and forgetting. I think this is like a Victor, I guess I would say, masterclass on patience.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would estates, I have 5 might, but I will resist all urge to swing at face, to swing at Genesis for 9 might, for
Listen,
like hammer for 9 at Genesis.
I actually watched that game. I saw the allies, the clashing of the allies, and it's one of those brain fart moments. You kind of forget how certain things
Yeah,
work, and so it's kind of silly. But yeah, no, it was a very very meticulous game, and you played it very well. Anytime Victor gets on camera, I immediately have to be like, okay, I'm stopping what I'm doing. I gotta watch this Victor game, and you played it very well. I was very impressed watching the game.
yeah. I think there was a turn that I just did cast homes, so Gold Main Estate,
Yeah.
pass IP4 because I had 4 poppers in my hand, or like no, 2 poppers, like a popper for 9, a popper for 7, test of Iron Grip and test of Strength, and I'm like, oh, what a perfect blocking hand! I will not swing my hammer.
Exactly.
Yeah, then that's my round 3. That's into Prism, another W. Round 4 was into a Kano. So yeah, some a dreaded matchup for
Hmm.
Victor players everywhere, but a matchup I was able to win.
You beat a
So
Kano?
I did beat a Kano.
Oh wow.
So what happened was he went turn 0. He went first. I was able to AB. pitching a Riches of Tropaldani. So I was able to make gold, baby. Make it rain. My turn one was kind of anemic, just sending a Thunder Quick, but I was able to arsenal my Pummel. Then the
Hmm.
next turn, it was a Golden Sun for 14 with Pummel.
Okay.
Then I was able to estates into Peck Perfect for 13, into another estates for another Peck Perfect for 13. Then at that point, my opponent was like, Peck Perfect, what the hell is this card? Should I block? He's like, if I block it, then we clash and you get a Blazing Aether or Aether Wildfire, I lose on the spot. But if I don't block, I'm only at 30 HP. And this is 13. So it really messes with their game plan.
That's awesome.
Then
I
that
love to hear that you were putting Kanos in the blender. I think a lot of Guardian players will love to hear that.
yeah. Then my second Peck Perfect that came in also for 13. My first clash, the card I saw on the top, Arcane Compliance. Then like my Kano opponent said, would you like to sync that with your hero power, sir? And I'm like, no, I would not.
Oh, that's hilarious. It's such an unfortunate thing to hit off the top of the deck.
Yeah, so like, yeah, got my Arcane Compliance for my next turn and dub secured.
Okay. I like that. So we're 4-0 at this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Next is Florian. I was against him, a really good player from Malaysia. However, this is where the story of the Peck Perfect for 31 happened. So when you get hit with a Peck Perfect for 31, what do you do? Like
31 is
you can't
insane.
yeah, you can't just take 31. But if you block with your full hand, you block with your bark skin, you block with the reaction, that's 6 blocks and you're getting milled 6 cards. And you're like, uh, I'm screwed.
Wow. Wow. That's crazy. Peck perfect for 31 is not a sentence I ever thought I would hear somebody say. So so I'm assuming if you sent the peck perfect for 31, you won this game.
Yeah, the moment I presented 31, we were staring at the card for like 2 solid minutes and he just pulled out the handshake. Like it's kind of over.
Oh yeah, you put 31 damage on the stack, and most people will concede. So 5-0 now.
5-0.
Okay.
Next up, an Ira. So when Iras aren't ready for the Peck Perfect Victor list, you could actually just write this off as a free win for Victor.
Ooh.
Because
Okay.
Ira likes blocking 2 and playing 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
If she wants to send her Kodachi 1 cost or Kodachi CNC.
Mm-hmm.
So sending a Peck Perfect makes it so that they can't really convert their hand well. They'd probably have 2 blues. They'd probably not have go again. So they'd need to either take face, then IP1 a card, or block 2 cards and mill 2 cards. And with the hero matchup of Ira and Victor, it almost always goes down to the fatigue just because of the nature of the 2 heroes blocking out each other.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, especially now with Mastery Pack Guardian, I think Test of Iron Grip is really, really, really debilitating for Iras that aren't ready. So when they do their dual threat turn of Kodachi, pop their boots for Tiger, Kodachi for 4, exactly 4, that's when you grip when they still have a card in their hand and you could just randomly kill their CNC or something.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love that. Test of Iron Grip has made a very, very good dent on the meta and from Mastery Pack Guardian. So it's so cool that your deck, has so many cards with Mastery Pack Guardian in it. Because I think a lot of people were disappointed. But you really showcasing the power of MPG is awesome. Sorry, I'm getting off track. I'm getting off track. Okay, so
It's all good.
you beat an Ira?
I beat an Ira, so we are now at 6-0.
Okay.
Then my next round is, my God, another Kano. Like there's only 7 Kanos in the entire event. and I fight two of them.
That's so unfortunate.
Holy. Yeah, then this one, I have taken the L. So I lost to Juma, the guy, the 15-year-old,
Hmm.
who's Kano prodigy, as the people like saying. He
Okay.
actually took down the Swiss at first seed.
So he was the one seed Kano coming in the top eight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so at this point we went 6-0. We lose to a Kano. We're 6-1. So we got 2 rounds left, right?
Yeah, we have 2 rounds left. And the 2 rounds are sleepers. Not in the sleepers that they're like sleeper hits, but they're like free. Because the two remaining rounds are, unfortunately for them, fortunately for us, both Syndra.
Oh wow! So you played back to back
Yeah,
Cinders in the last 2 rounds, and you finished 8-1.
yeah. So the first Syndra tried out Lynx. The
Mm-hmm.
second Syndra was my teammate, and he's like, "Are we still gonna play this?" And we're like, let's ask our friends to buy us dinner. Then we might as well just sit here and rest and play. So yeah,
Oh, that's funny. So you were 8-1 going into Swiss, and if I remember correctly, you were the 3 seed.
yeah. I am 8-1 and the 3 seed.
So we actually have the top 8 graphic here. Potch, thank you so much for sending these over to me so that we can have access to these on the video. It'll be great. So
Yeah.
looking at the top 8 here, we had it sounds like Juan, you said the 15-year-old prodigy, right? And
Yep.
Kano playing against CYK Lionel, who recently won calling Auckland, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly, playing Dash.io.
Calling Auckland.
And then we
Mm-hmm.
have JB Dela Cruz playing Florian. And we have Edric Ramos playing Marionette. We have our boy Potch playing Victor in top 8, who actually played against Ping Jun. For people who do not know, that is foil Degen. Not only is he a collector of shiny cardboard and some of the funniest videos I've ever seen, he is a fantastic player. So congrats to him to making top 8. And then we have Keenan Fernandez and we have O'Neill De Leon. Did I say that right?
Uh, Not quite, but it's fine. Onyel.
Onyel. Okay. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
correcting me. I appreciate that. And Onyel is actually your friend and your teammate, you said, right?
Yeah, he is my teammate. And actually, we started playing Flesh and Blood around the same time. And like back then, we were just buddies that were always present in armories. Then when we got to ProQuest, we're like always hanging out, always checking up on each other. How
Mm-hmm.
you doing? I'm 3-0, I'm 2-1. Then at the end of Swiss, how are you? 3-3, 3 wins into 3 lose. So
Oh, that's so funny. So in top 8, you played against Ping Jun, Foil Degen, and they were playing Florian. Now, I think in the past this has been known as a pretty grindy matchup, and Florian has a very powerful late game. So, how did you feel about this matchup coming into it? And did you pick to go first or second here?
I picked to go first.
Okay.
Then actually, regarding the matchup, that's a really good question. I do have experience in playing Earth Heroes,
Okay.
and as well as I have buddies playing Earth Heroes because at the very start of Rosetta season, I invested heavily in making Verdance.
Okay.
So I actually know how to play the Earth Heroes quite intimately, and when I got sick of playing Verdance, to be specific, the money came knocking and Felling and Plow doubled in price.
Oh
So I
wow.
sold them off. so
Okay.
so when I sold off my Earth Heroes, but my friends also got them. So we were still able to test this matchup out. Uh, I really like how Victor matches up into the two Earth heroes right now, even into Verdance.
Okay.
Uh, so normally that's not a statement people would hear from a Victor player because usually the Earth heroes have this unstoppable endgame with
Sure.
Verdance having potions and the rampant growth, and Florian having Germinate Everbloom Life back in his arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, we have the tech. We have the boy, Peck Perfect. We're ready. So, what Peck Perfect does is it really attacks the game in a different axis. So, wow, Peck Perfect, 5 mana for 9 damage, 3 card 9 value. Ooh, I love sending 3 head jabs. But that's not what I feel is what makes Peck Perfect good. I think Peck Perfect is asking your opponent a really interesting question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to just take 9 damage so you could die to Macho Grande and Golden Sun? Or do you want to block 3 cards and mill 3 cards so you could die to fatigue?
Okay. Yeah. No, I
And
mean, makes a lot of
it,
sense.
it, it really allows you as the victor player to have, I guess it's not agency, but direction. I think
Okay.
Victor lists, Victor in the past, when it reaches the end game, you're not really sure sometimes if you're supposed to be playing for Macho Grande finisher or you're supposed to be milling your opponent out.
Mm-hmm.
With Peck Perfect, it it decides for you. So you're no longer lost and you could no longer make that mistake. If
Okay.
they mill 3 cards off the top, count their deck, you're probably like 10 cards ahead of them, just block everything out and mill them out.
Okay.
If if they're taking 9 HP and are now down to 2, down to 1, play pop all your gold and find your Macho Grande.
Okay.
So I think that's the really what's important into Earth Heroes because Earth Heroes like blocking,
Mm-hmm.
but would they still like to block my Peck Perfect for 9?
Sure.
So that's what happened with the matchup with Peng Jun. Uh, I was able to set the Peck Perfect for 12 early on in the game. He blocked 2 cards or 3 cards. I milled his first Germinate. So that's 1 down. Then I remember him pitching a second copy of Germinate down earlier in the game. So I had to track his pitch stack and time playing Goldmane Estate into Peck Perfect such that Germinate is one of the top 3 cards of his deck. And it took a lot of my brain power, but eventually I was able to send Peck Perfect for 17. He had to
Wow.
block with 4 cards. I milled 4 cards and I got the second Germinate and his last copy or his second copy of Everbloom Life. So, all in all, during our game, he was only able to resolve 1 Germinate. And
Wow.
when he recurred that 1 Germinate that he played, he was no longer able to play it because I was on my Golden Sun pitch stack where I was just sending Golden Suns every turn.
Mm-hmm. So you
Yeah.
were able to use Peck Perfect as a way to push the game in a winning direction for you. I mean, I think most people would agree that if you're able to take 2 Germinates out of Florian's deck, Victor wins that late game because all of a sudden you are the grindier deck, you are the better deck late in the game. So that's really cool to hear. I not many people can counter pitch stack their opponent, and it's a tough thing to do in a big part of this game. So, man, it's really impressive to hear. You're like blowing my mind right now talking about your late game here, man. This is really impressive. I love this. This is awesome.
Yeah, I think the match against Peng Jun's a really good player,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that was really my best game of the day.
Okay.
Like like firing on all cylinders, the counter pitch stack on the Germinate. Then I was able to do my own pitch stacking. I was able to send Estates, then Hammer for 9, Estates Hammer for 10, Peck Perfect for 12 into Golden Sun, Golden Sun, Golden Sun into Macho, Macho, Macho. So I was able with the last macho, I was no longer in my pitch stack because we're already at like the third or fourth cycle, and I'm like, I am so lost where my cards are. I'm down to my last gold. I have this macho in my arsenal. I only have 2 blues. but I still have 2 yellows in my deck. If
Mm-hmm.
I pop my gold and I draw into the yellow, I could just lose on the spot. But you know what? Let's be ambitious. So I popped the gold, got a blue, sent the macho, and he no longer has equipment. He's only at 2 HP, and I got the dub.
That's awesome. That's so cool to hear. I love that. So you were able to, really play like what sounds like a great game and a really clean game from your side against Pengjun playing Florian. And then in top four, you mentioned earlier you had to play against your teammate on Syndra. Walk us through that game.
So this was a really fun game. Not because of the matchup. I think the matchup's kind of like one-sided as hell. But
Sure.
it's a really fun game because it feels like we're just playing in our local armory. Having in a top four in front of your friend. Normally, you know how like big events, the top tables are like cordoned off from the rest of the
Uh
spectators.
huh. Yeah.
For our table specifically, none of that. Everybody, come watch our game, and we would just trash talk each other. Poch, you're so stupid. Your hero is for stupid people. Victor's a stupid hero. He's gonna say stuff like that, and I'm like, ah, test of iron grip. -1 card, dumbass. Something like that.
Oh, see, it's so fun that you get to extend that level of friendship and camaraderie with your buddies at a high level event like that. It's so cool because there's not many times you probably get to have that. So it's
Yeah,
awesome to hear that and to see that. That's awesome.
yeah, and yeah. Everyone like it felt casual, even if we're at top four. Like the audience was allowed to go near to our table. The audience was laughing along with us.
That's
So I
awesome.
really got good vibes from the top four before going into the finals.
That's great. That's awesome. I'm glad that you were able to have that moment with your friend and, also like, dispose of your opponent in top four and move on to the finals. It's a win win.
Yeah,
Um, in the finals, you played against Edric Ramos, who was playing Arachne Marionette. I
yeah,
had a chance to watch as much of this game that was on YouTube. The ending, it seemed like it kind of got cut off on the stream. I wasn't
yeah.
able to like kind of catch the ending. So walk us through that game and kind of like like what gives you an edge into Mario.
I think Victor is well positioned into Marionette because Marionette builds now are doing one of two things. They're doing on the what people call Wario or Weapon Mario.
Mm-hmm.
So they would just pump their daggers with pre-pump 0.44s, like cut through the same cloth. Then sometimes they would send the reaction with scar tissue.
Mm-hmm.
The other one is the people still on Copium, using just a nick on the one cost stealth cards, pretending the bonds ban didn't happen. So yeah, Edric was on the Wario list, so it's a very consistent list. However, it has the fatal flaw of having a lot of two blocks. So in this matchup, I think you could just grind the marionette down,
Mm-hmm.
and it really helps that one of our locals, named Javier, is a marionette truther since day one. Even when everyone said that he should play Slippy because it's easier and he gets tired from playing Mario in long games, he would still play Mario because he think it's a funner deck. And now that it's reaching the finals of a battle hardened, he's vindicated. And actually, his dedication to Mario is what allowed me to an extent to win this game because I knew all the lines. I knew all the breakpoints. I knew when to block with my equipment. I knew
Okay.
when to use flexors. I knew that my one of copy of Sync Below in main board would be useful. Uh, my 61 card deck presented, I put back in Staunch Response for this very moment. So yeah, it was a really good match, but it's a match I've played 1,000 times before,
Okay.
and like I could see I could see all the lines in my head just because one of our locals, who's one of my closest friends in Flesh and Blood, play this specific deck.
Okay, so you were very prepared going into the matchup, not only with the game plan, but it sounds like almost the exact list that Edric was on. So you were way ahead of what was going on when you pair that into the fact that, Victor has some very powerful cards in this matchup, being able to clash, and your one of Staunch response goes a long way. Quick dodge flexors helps us in a lot of these situations. So it sounds like you were just, man, sounds like it was just your Saturday or your Sunday. I think the event was on a
Yeah,
Saturday.
yeah, it was a Saturday. It really was my day. But I would also like to point out this finals match is really the biggest ad for Mastery Pack Guardian is a good set, guys. I swear. James White, you've done it again. Giving us an S tier product for Guardians everywhere. And yeah, like there was a round a turn rather that I had two Test of Iron grips in my hand. Edric knew I had one of them from a previous clash, so he was able to play around the first one. But when I played the second one, the light in his eyes were gone. Just joking.
Oh, that's so funny. I love that. I'm personally a firm believer that Mastery Pack Guardian was better for Guardian than a lot of people think. I was a
Yeah,
little down on it at first, but I think there's a lot of good support that came from the set, so it's really cool to see. All right, so top eight was sounds like some really good games, and you were firing on all cylinders and playing really well. I think we have, like kind of tease people enough here. Let's go ahead and pull up the deck and we'll talk about your deck list and everything that you were on. As we go through, I'm going to talk about some things and I'm going to ask you some questions just to get your insight here. The first
yeah.
one that I notice is that you're on Miller's Grindstone and Titan's Fist, but you're not on Anothos or Sledge. Walk me through Miller's Grindstone and Titan's Fist as your hammer selection options.
Yeah, I think Titan's Fist and Miller's. I think having these two hammers isn't very groundbreaking room. But I think the more interesting question that you also asked was, why don't I have the other big hammers?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess just so the if there's any newer Victor players coming into the video, Titan's Fist is just a really good hammer. You pitch a blue, you send out 4 damage. Very above rate, and it's really good for when you have matchups that you're expecting to lose clashes in. So like brutes, the mirrors,
Mm-hmm.
maybe also prism, since prism has a lot of sixes and sevens.
Okay.
So that's when you put in the Titan's Fist. And for everything else, millers. Yeah, just destroy their deck, send them to the fatigue, send them to the shadow realm. So I love this hammer. This is my favorite hammer. People would always meme on me when I was in armories. I would lose 2 clashes. I have a hammer for 2. Nah. Miller's Truther all the way.
Oh, I love that. So I have, over the last like couple months, I would say I've become more of a believer in Miller's Grindstone. I played a lot of Miller's Grindstone when the hero came out last year, but I
Mhm.
haven't played a lot of it since. So to see, Miller's and Titan's Fist in your deck is really cool. I really like to see that a lot. As we continue looking through the deck and talking about some of this stuff, so I feel like your equipment setup, for the most part, is like what I would call pretty standard. Like AB2 for
Yep.
Verdance and things like that. We're on Crown of Dominion versus Crown of Providence and like swapping those out in specific matchups. If I remember seeing correctly, you talked in the one of the discords that I'm in for Victor, where you were talking about how you are primarily on Crown of Providence. Do you care to walk us through that a little bit?
Yeah. I'm gonna go on quite a ramble, but
That's
I think
okay.
that's what we're here for.
Exactly.
So for 90% of matchups, I'm on Crown of Providence. I would say I'm only on Dominion for 3, for Florian, for Verdance, and for Kano. The ones that I want to be super aggressive into.
Okay.
Everything else, I would be on Crown of Providence. What really got me into deciding this is I played a match against a friend. Uh, he's new into Flesh and Blood, and actually we haven't seen each other in like 4 years. Then suddenly he messages me, "Poch, I heard you're pretty good at card games, and let's play Flesh and Blood." Then like, wow, okay, I didn't know you play now. So yeah, he plays Dash IO.
Okay.
Then I played against him with a victor list that's sort of standard, so nothing resembling this yet, and I lost. Close, but I lost.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm like, if I had Crown of Providence that blocks 2 and I could convert my arsenal into block 3, would that make my aggro matchups unlosable? And I think that is what solidified the decision to always have Crown of Providence, because I'm pretty sure you talked about this in one of your videos before, that one of your gripes with Victor is that you needed to play a perfect Swiss, because the moment Gem gives you a bad matchup like a Kano, that's already one automatic loss for you during Swiss.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I think on top of like on a macro strategy, that's what really it's not even macro because it's like a gem thing, right?
Sure.
Macro is for like in specific games, but in like a higher level event thinking, that's what made me go into Crown of Providence. That I need to guarantee shore up all my aggressive matchups, because if I lose even one game that I'm supposed to win, I'm knocked out of the top 8.
Right. No, I completely agree with you. I've said that multiple times on streams. I'm a firm believer that that is the case with Victor. And I feel like Crown of Providence, lines up with your way of thinking. I've personally been on Crown of Providence for a little while now. I think it's very good in the meta, and I play it into quite a few heroes as well. But if you mentioned, you played against an Ira, you played against a Dash IO, you played against a couple Cinders, you played against a lot of aggro decks. And so,
Yeah,
having this Crown of Providence, this extra value blocking piece lined up very well for you, it sounds like.
yeah. I would play this into almost everything. I would play it into Auxilio. I would play it into Brutes. I would play it into Assassins. I would play it into Gravy. So it's a really really nice headpiece. On top of like the macro decisions that are in game that we'll get to once we get to the cards that are weird.
Okay, perfect. I'm looking forward to it. So as we start taking a look at the deck, there are definitely some cards that stand out to me a little bit here that I want to talk about. You're on you're on a lot of two ofs and one ofs, and I think this is really cool to be able to talk about. One of the cards that people have been telling me they do not like very much is performance bonus. This is a card that people have told me they're not really a big fan of, and I'm assuming this is for the gravy matchup to be able to help, clear allies, generate some gold, arsenal cards, things like that. Walk me
Yeah.
through why you're on this card and why you're only on one of it.
So I think this card is inherently clunky because you have so much cards that you want to put in your arsenal against the gravy matchup.
Mm-hmm.
You want the batter in your arsenal. You want this card, performance bonus in your arsenal. Sometimes you want Spinal Crush in your arsenal. Sometimes you want Crush the Weak in your arsenal because that hits all their swells. So I think too many of this card just becomes a hassle for you to play.
Okay.
And I really think more than specifically preparing for gravy, with gravy slowing down, that has afforded me less. That has afforded me the leeway to run less tech into gravy. So I'm only running performance bonus, 2 batters, and Midas touch. When usually I would run 3 batters, 2 performance bonuses, and a single Midas.
Okay.
So I really like performance bonus because there will only really be one point in the game that you're desperate to clear 2 allies.
Okay.
At least in this iteration of gravy. Uh, what performance bonus really does for you is allows you to block with your entire hand, preserve your HP, send out your performance bonus to like let's say
Okay.
rigor mortis, killing rigor mortis, then pray to God that the top of your deck is a blue. You close your eyes and slowly lift it up and put it in your pitch zone. If it's a blue, you're a demon. You're a top deck demon,
I
and you
love
get to
that.
kill another ally. And yeah, you send a one card clear to allies and make gold, which is nuts if you put it in that perspective.
Sure, absolutely. So you feel like this card fulfills a specific role in a post ban gravy world as a one of.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There are some other cards that you have as one ofs in your deck here that I want to talk about. You are on a one of Staunch Response. I think this is a
Uh,
card that makes its way in and out of Victor decks depending on like what the meta
mhm.
looks like. Walk me through one of this.
So it was really funny. The day before the battle hardened, I went 0-3 in our local armory. And I was against the same Marlin player that I fought in Battle Hardened. My round 2 Marlin was also my round 2 Marlin in our local armory the day prior.
Okay.
And during that match, like I lost. So like I was thinking hard. How do I edit my list for tomorrow? What is the card that could make the difference for weird decks that go tall, mirrors that go tall,
Mm-hmm.
and assassins that go tall? Oh, look, the perfect card, Staunch Response. And I really like this card because it allows you to convert 3 cards into 10 block if you're pitching the whole 6. Or if you're really crazy or really a god at drawing hands, you play Staunch Response pitching Riches of Tropaldani.
Now that sounds awesome. That's something I can get on board with. Pitching riches to Staunch Response sounds like a new high I'm chasing in Victor. So you're also on a one of Clash of Bravado. Now, this
Mhm.
is a card that I think a lot. I was personally very shocked when I saw you block with this during the Prism game. Now, in Prism, it's a 7. It fits all the bills. It does all the right things here. What is it about this card that you wanted to play over maybe like a second performance bonus or a third batter to a pulp or, anything else in your list?
So this is actually part of my main board. And good thing you brought this card up because I do have a story about how it paid off big to have that one copy of Clash of Bravado.
Okay.
But before we get to that, I'm just gonna segue a bit and once again shout out to my brute brother Eugene C. I am in the Eugene C train of running a lot of very, very specific one of tech cards for very, very specific moments that you might need. And
Okay.
this card is one of those moments, one of those cards. During
Okay.
my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 round 5 game against a Florian, I was able to Clash of Bravado his Reaping Blade, and I got to destroy his Channel Millennium Tree.
Oh my gosh, that's insane.
It is. So you get to destroy Channel Millennium Tree, you get to destroy Channel Mount Heroic, you get to destroy Ring of Roses, you get
Okay.
to destroy you get to destroy Malefic Incantation. Goodbye, Vincent. Back to the F tier you go. Sorry to my Vincent friends. Uh, you get to destroy Channel Lightning Valley
Mm-hmm.
if there's any Osilios. You get to destroy you if you're on Civic Steps and you're on a budget list, you could block with your Civic Steps and Clash of Bravado, then destroy the Quicken token that you gave them.
Oh
Woohoo!
wow, I hadn't even
Woohoo!
considered that. That's awesome.
Yeah, so this card is so good and I love it. It's
Okay.
so hyper specific and it's so situational that when it does pop off, it just gives you so much.
Okay. That's awesome though. That's so cool. I hadn't considered how many like unique lines fit into this. So
Yeah,
you were able to destroy a channel the Millennium Tree in one of your Swiss games?
yeah.
Wow.
And during a side event the day after, I was able to destroy a Channel Lightning Valley. So this card doing God's work.
Oh my gosh, that's so criminal. I love that so much.
The worst
Oh,
part was he knew it was coming. This showed up on a clash, so he knew it was in my hand. But he had no choice except to play the CLV because he has to attack into me eventually.
okay.
So yeah, so Clash of Bravado,
I love it.
goated card.
I absolutely love it. As we continue looking through the list, this is where we get into some like unique cards that I want to talk about a little bit. I think Arcane Compliance is pretty straightforward. This feels like this is probably specifically just for Kano. Is there another matchup you like this in?
I like putting it into Verdance in case that the Verdance is on Surgeon Aethertide. So
Okay.
recently, Verdances have fully um fully moved out of the Surgeon list and just went into amping their pings. But in the cases that you are fighting a Verdance that wants to play full combo into Surgeon Aethertide into spell, this is your guy. So in case that they're on that list, I still have this for Verdance.
Okay. No, that makes sense. So it I feel like you probably don't want this against Cecilio since they can,
Yeah.
put it on a shock or something like that. But it feels really good into
Mhm.
Verdance as like a kind of, like get out of jail free card. But against Kano, you're just absolutely stuffing their turn.
Yeah. Yeah. A quick story on the another Kano I fought. The day after Battle Hardened, we had a side event called the Gadget Cup. So it's like a straight Swiss. Then depending on your placement after Swiss, you get gadgets. So very
Okay,
self-explanatory.
that's cool.
I was able to 6-0 that event. Shout out to Carlo Ople and the people behind Team Unbox for the great side event.
Yeah.
I was able to fight through the Wizard Gauntlet, and I fought off Verdance, an Ocilio, and another Kano. Then this
Wow.
came up big again. So I was able to take the dubs against the Wizard Gauntlet because of this card.
Okay, I like this. So one of Arcane Compliance fitting well into the sideboard. Your theory on sideboarding, talk like when you shouted out Eugene C earlier, like as like this one of tech card that fits really well. So I really like this a lot. Um, Another card from Mastery Pack Guardian that I feel like has not seen a lot of play, and you're already smiling when I talk about this, is Aftershock. This is not a. If you had come to me before I saw your deck list and you had said, Zach, is Potch playing Aftershock? Yes or no? And if I got it wrong, I lost $100. I would have lost $100 on the spot. So walk me through this card. What's up with Aftershock?
So I do have another funny story about like Mastery Pack Guardian cards in general, I guess. So in the finals, so Edric is a bro, Edric is a friend.
Mm-hmm.
So we were just good vibes, laughing around, and we were like, Edric would ask, "Oh, is this a new card?" Then I would answer, Aftershock Blue from the Mastery Pack from the new set Mastery Pack Guardian. Buy now at your local game store. So we would joke around like that whenever there's a new Mastery Pack Guardian card that it's time to buy Mastery Pack Guardian, guys. Or and like some the judge is since we're like in a chill environment, the judge also joked around saying that Poch, James White is thankful that you got to put Victor a dub today because James White, you've done it again. Another S tier product. Mastery Pack Guardian haters, beware. Look at all those new cards in this deck. So Aftershock is one of them. And I really love this card because it is a blue with text.
Yeah.
Crazy, 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 I know. So uh if you think about when you would be playing blues, uh like for example the normal blues that would be in the list is debilitate or choke slam.
Mm-hmm.
It sort of feels bad to send those cards like raw, right? Like you don't really enjoy sending them unless you have no choice. But Aftershock though, wow, real text. Crazy. You get to make a surge from your tectonic plating. So you get one surge for that turn.
Hmm.
And when you swing with Aftershock, you get a second surge. When like if you're at turn 0, you get to make two surges. If you just luck into drawing a Spinal Crush, you could send a 2-card Spinal Crush.
Okay,
Is that not crazy?
that's awesome.
Are the gears turning for the watchers for tomorrow?
They're definitely turning for me. I'll tell you that. If they're not for them, it is for me. Okay, so blue aftershock, huh? All right, I'm here for it, man. You've talked me into it. I kind of like it. Since we're since you're doing James White a solid here and you're selling Mastery Pack Guardian cards, let's talk about Rubble Razor. This is another Mastery Pack Guardian card, but this one has Heave 2. Are you playing this specifically for the turn 0 value of heaving, or what are we looking to accomplish with this card?
So yeah, I think that's a big reason. I love the turn 0 value of just having a million seismic surge. So whatever you draw, whatever crush effect you draw, you could immediately claw back the tempo by just sending a 2-card Spinal Crush. So this
Mm-hmm.
is another one of those cards where you just tectonic to surge, heave 2 to make 2 more surge, have 3 surge, I pass. Next turn, I block with 4 cards, and I send a 1-card Crush the Weak.
Yep.
Aha! Get doomed, Syndras. So uh it's a really good card. Then I do have like weird plays with it that I like doing.
Okay.
So for context, Oniel used to play Gravy. I have another friend called Miggy. He also used to play Gravy before the bans. And one thing that I really like as a takeaway from the Gravy players is that you know how Gravies would uh almost without regard for the world pop gold so they could arsenal a card
Yep.
or they could do something. I started doing that for Victor. Then I would pop gold just so I could afford the heave for Rubble Razor
Okay.
and arsenal it, make 2 surge. And like, okay, I lost out on 2 might later for my estates, but now I have an arsenal that I could crown away. I
Mm-hmm.
have heave 2, and in the middle of the game, I could randomly play a 2-card Spinal Crush.
Okay.
Like the value on that isn't mathematically straightforward, but on a macro level, how you win against aggro, it's like weird, right? It's weird. It's not straightforward. The math isn't there. It just happens na uh you set away all your instincts as a Victor player and just pop gold like a madman so you could have a better next turn.
So it's really interesting to hear what you're saying, because like when you talked about like, on like a macro strategy against like aggro decks, it's not very straightforward to crack your gold because you're thinking, oh, I might need this for a Golden Sun, or I might want to draw cards later, lose out on a state value. But being able to set up, the middle of the game, a 2-card Spinal Crush is a very good way to get tempo back from a Dash IO opponent or a Cinder opponent, or even like against an Ira player. It's still a relevant crush effect. So it makes a lot of sense. I have to admit, I was not initially able to like see that far deep into this card, but I like it a lot. Your rationale's making a lot of sense to me. I got to tell you, the more we talk about this, the more you're bringing me back to wanting to play Victor. I'm I'm very interested.
He's knocking on your door. He's
Listen,
really shouting at you, play me on your next live stream, Zach.
it is sitting in sleeves on my table back here behind me. I just have to put it back in my deck box. Oh. Another card that I think is really interesting that we don't always see, but we do in some lists is Remembrance. Now, some people are on like one, some people have been on two or three. You're on one copy. What matchups do you want this for?
I would say there's 2 particular matchups that I do want this for. Of course, there's a Florian matchup that you do want to recycle your estates. You do want. I think my preferred Remembrance targets are 2 estates and 1 Tech Perfect. Tech
Okay.
Perfect getting another shout out. So, and the other matchup that I do want this in is uh for the past week before the Battle Hardened, there's been a new deck that's been propping up in events. I think Pablo Pintor has played it on stream. It's the Full Fatigue Jarl.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So the Full Fatigue Jarl with all the heal cards, with Fiddler's Green and Sledge of Anvilheim. So Peck Perfects, Goldmane Estates will make short work of that deck.
Okay, perfect. So you're really looking to use this when you want to, when you're playing a matchup, when you sit down, you're like, okay, I'm going to want to cast more copies than just three Peck Perfects or more than just three Goldman Estates to try and get that long game value.
Yeah. So the
Okay.
grindiest matchups you could just outgrind because the estate's value is super high and the Peck will probably mill a lot of their deck, even if they're fat decking.
Okay. Perfect. I love it. I absolutely love a one of Remembrance. I actually have a rainbow foil, so that's perfect. I've been looking for a
Wow.
use for it, so now I know what to do with it. Oh, you have mentioned this card multiple times. It would be an absolute sin if I didn't put it on the screen. Let's talk about Peck Perfect. I feel like we might have saved the best for last. This card seems like it was an absolute powerhouse of a majestic for you over the course of your Battle Harden and your Sunday gadget event that you were talking about.
Yeah.
So tell me about this card. What makes it stand out? What do you love about it so much, other than the art, obviously?
Yeah. So I am a fan of stupid meme cards, and I absolutely love that I was the one to start popularizing this stupid meme card as an actual good card. Uh, so when people first saw this in the reveals, it's like middling reviews, right? Oh no, it's a 3 card 9. Who cares? I'll just take it and swing back harder at you. But if you think about Victor's win conditions, it really pushes forward what you want to do. So I would say there's three main win conditions for Victor. One is the fatigue. So that's when you keep on sending big attacks. You trade your 1 card from your deck and they block 3 cards. So on the deck damage race, you're ahead by 2. The second
Okay.
would be closing the game out with true damage finishers, as I would say. So that's usually in the form of Golden Sun with its overpower and Macho Grande with Dominate. So you get them down to 1 HP. Once they're out of equipment, Macho Grande will probably kill them. The third is the high roll potential of Victor. And you just randomly clashing into Golden Sun, clashing into Thunks, uh, that's the three ways I would say that Victor wins. And what Peck Perfect does is it single-handedly supports all three of those win conditions. I guess I'll talk about the high roll first because it's the one that's funner,
Sure.
catches headlines.
Yeah.
So Peck Perfect in the finals, although the VOD cut off, I think because we hit the 12-hour YouTube limit.
Mm-hmm.
Peck Perfect was able to clash into Golden Sun.
Oh my
So
gosh.
on the offensive, I drew a card and I made the gold.
That's
So
absurd.
those are the moments we live for as a Victor player. And like my brute brain neurons are activating. Haha. I've done it again. I discarded my beast within. I drew a card. So
Oh,
yeah,
that's amazing.
I think one guy in the Golden Suns Victor Discord was also trying Peck Perfect out in his armory. And he was like, man, I sent Peck Perfect. My opponent blocked 3 cards. Off the top, I revealed a yellow thunk and I got 3 might. Then
Oh,
he's like, oh my god.
that's
We're so back, Victor Bros.
we're so back. I actually sent that exact message to somebody on Discord after it was announced that you won the battle harden, and I got to like see the results. Somebody said, "Oh, Victor just won a battle harden," and I just put, "We are so freaking back" in all caps. Oh, I love that so much.
So yeah, that I think that encapsulates the high roll potential of this card. The next is the true damage one.
Okay.
So I think by default, most people would just be taking 9 damage.
Hmm.
Or if it's slightly pumped, taking 11 damage. But the thing is, the higher that number goes, the weirder the question becomes. Like, what if it's pumped by an estates and it's coming in for 15? Do you still take the 15 damage? On top of the 15 damage, you have to account there's 2 more Peck Perfects coming. So that's 18 more damage. So all
Hmm.
in all, you're already taking 33 damage. You'll be down to 7 HP once we're done with our first cycle. And that'll put you in range for the Golden Sun into Macho Grande kill.
Yep.
So you as the victor player, if you saw that they just kept on taking Peck Perfects, kept on taking damage, you could just block out the entire first cycle and power cycle for your Golden Sun in the pitch stack, power cycle for your Macho in the pitch stack, because you know with utmost confidence that they are at 2 HP and your Macho can close the game. So
Okay.
I think Peck Perfect is so good because it allows you to know what your end game is.
Okay. Yeah,
It
absolutely.
doesn't bring you to an end game. It lets you decide early on what you want to do. And I think the old victor lists without Peck Perfect has that trouble because if you make a mistake, like you played for fatigue when you could kill them, you just miss out on potentially a win.
Right.
And I think that's the real strength of Peck Perfect. It's not in its raw numbers. Its raw numbers suck. It's so bad. But the the macro plan is so good, especially when we get to the last win condition for Victor, which is fatigue, because it's where its true numbers really shine in terms of raw fab value. Because if your opponent is at 3 HP and you send the raw Peck Perfect for 9, they have to block it with 3 cards. And think about it, this is the end game. You're like down to your last 15 cards each. Then suddenly, out of nowhere, they have to block 3. And they're probably losing the next 3 also. So with your 1 card, you were able to take out 6 deck damage from your opponent. 3 from the cards they blocked with, 3 from the mills. So it really, really, really shines in those situations.
It sounds like this card has like it does all of the things you want it to. The thing that you said that really stands out the most to me is that it doesn't get you to the end game. It tells you what your end game is. And I love that. The way you phrase that made it just clicks in my brain. It makes so much sense. And I think it's going to do that for a lot of other people as well because the ability to just be able to, just see that and have that is absolutely awesome. And I love that so much the way you describe this card. It fits so well into the game plan. I may or may not be buying rainbow foil Peck Perfects after we get done recording this. Is there anything looking at the deck that you feel like I missed over or you'd like to talk about that I didn't maybe mention?
Yeah, I think there's another ramble incoming, I guess. So I would have 14 whiffs in my main board. So that would be the 3 trounces, the 3 test of strengths, the 3 test of iron grips, the 3 gold main estates. So that's all in all 12.
Uh-huh.
Of course, there's the rich for 13.
Right.
And my 14th would be the one of copies of Sink Below.
Okay.
So uh, it's another one of those cards that uh, you have a one of for that one situation in your entire game that you could just randomly blow someone out with it.
Mm-hmm.
Or you're really desperate for a 4 block. During the Prism match I had on stream, the one of copy of Sink Below really did wonders because uh, Prism has this very specific arm piece that she likes to run into Guardians called Dreamweavers for
Uh-huh.
newer players. It allows her to get rid of Phantasm for her first attack. And the thing is, usually, when they pop Dreamweavers, they most likely have Angelic Wrath behind it. And when you have your one of copy of Sink Below for their one of equipment of Dreamweavers, it becomes a huge blowout. When you block 7 on their angel, they send angelic wrath, then suddenly snap from your arsenal, play sink below. And I think the casters were really, oh my god, this Victor is running sink belows. Oh my god.
So I actually remember the exact point in the stream you're talking about because I watched that and I had a very similar reaction sitting at my house. And I remember like when you played a sync below, I was like, we're on all of the clashes, we're on riches, and we're on sync belows. I was like, this victor list is so greedy. And then to see that you're on one copy is just so like poetic to like how they reacted, how I felt about it. It just it fits so well.
Yeah, I would say like the greed in me, that's the brute brain. That's a I want to high roll you with my blood rush. Woohoo.
I love
But
that.
I think if you wanna get into the math of like the expected value of your trounces, the expected value of your tests, uh, of course, since you have more whiffs in your deck, you're expected to lose a bit more clashes. But what evens it out is the potential high roll that you get on the peak of what you could get from your trounces, from your test of strength is higher. And that allows your slightly lower odds of winning clashes to get evened out to above average. And that's really in display, I think, with another card that was featured in that Prism match that the casters were also exclaiming about, Yellow Thunk.
I'm so glad you brought this one up. So, Yellow Thunk is a card that I have to admit I've not seen it in Victor a lot. It's made its way into some lists, and I think most people refer to Thunks outside of blues as like meme cards almost in a lot of ways. Um,
Yeah.
Yellows, I just tell me your thoughts, man. Share with me.
so, um, so I enjoy bad decks. So let's preface it with that. I enjoy bad decks. I am a man who, when he was starting out in Flesh and Blood, okay, I got my KO Armory deck. I got to kit it out. What would my second deck be? I looked at the LL leaderboards and I scrolled to the very bottom. Oh my god, Betsy is so garbage. I'm going to build a Betsy deck. So that's a quick intro on why I know these random stupid cards because I would play 9 Clash of Might, 9 Thunk Betsy. I would be that
Amazing.
madman. And like, I thought about it. Like, how do I brutify Victor? How do I make him a high roll machine? How do I get Peck Perfect to win more
Uh huh.
when I'm milling the opponent? And
Okay.
like, perfect yellow thunk, and it's in yellow because with the stupid amount of seismic surge we're usually going to get. Like if you have 3 seismic surge, you could play a 2 card spinal crush with a yellow. Ah, the gears turning, the gears turning. Then if you're on Clash of Mights instead of Clash of Vigors, that would allow you to just double up on the value that you're getting from your thunks. So Clash of Might making a might, thunk making a might, then clash another time like Test of Strength, get a gold, get another might. Then you blocked 7, made 3 might, made a gold. That's a 2 card 10
Mm-hmm.
plus whatever value you attach to gold. Kinda nuts. It doesn't happen all the time, but when it does happen, you're like, I am going to win. And you have more moments that this deck feels good, I'm going to win, then you will win because you just feel good.
No, for sure. And I love that you've leaned into the like the high roll variant side of, trying to make the mechanics happen. Like you are, Victor is a hero that clashes by nature. So being able to clash and do all of this is awesome, and you've really leaned into that. From the Clash of Bravado, Peck Perfect, all the way down to yellow thunks. It fits so well. When I saw yellow thunks, I'm telling you, man. When I first saw your list, I was like, what are we doing here? And then I just kept seeing your list, and you were 3-0 in round 3, and then you were in top 8, and I was like, he could go all the way right here. And then I'm watching you in the finals, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like, this guy's gonna win a battle hard with yellow thunk in his deck.
The yellow thunk. They're like, I think like live on stream, but I think the VOD cut off. The exact thing I talked about happened. That I Clash of Mighted into a thunk. I got doubled up. I played Test of Strength. I tripled up on the thunk.
Wow.
Or like I would Miller's Grindstone. He would take 4. Then I would flip into a thunk. Then that's like a 1-card 5 that gives your next turn a breakpoint. And like the value train just keeps coming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
That's awesome. I love that. Taking a look at the deck, is there anything else that you feel like I missed, or something else you want to talk about?
I guess like a quick discussion is that some people would ask me, why do I have 1 copy of Headbutt? And why not more copies of Headbutt? And I think I could come back to my discussion previously that I would always play Crown of Providence. So usually when you're on Crown of Dominion, this is really good because your headpiece doesn't explode. It stays on for the entire game. But since I am running Providence, I only like to run 1-ofs. And when will that 1-of time be useful? When I'm against Kanos. It didn't happen, but there's a magical Christmas land that you get to send Headbutt and pummel it, then you destroy their Ragamuffin hat.
Mm-hmm.
There's a magical Christmas land that happens, and it will feel really good, and you'll feel really smart that you have 1 copy of it in your deck.
Oh, so it's really interesting because you've there's a few tech pieces in here where you're able to like target Kano in a lot of ways that I don't think other iterations of the Victor deck have done. And so I think, going into ProQuest season, because I think for ProQuest season, for a lot of people, it's kind of the wild, wild west. Like, you could play against any deck at any time. And so having all these, like, singleton tech cards, it's personally really making me evaluate how I'm going to be deck building moving into ProQuest season with decks. And so I love it, because a 1-of Headbutt is not something I would have guessed you would have been on. But it does make sense, because if you can pummel and get rid of the Ragamuffin's hat, you can absolutely blow them out.
Yeah. And I guess since we're on the Kano discussion, I am on the full Hopium train, because if you count all of my whiffs in main board, I actually can't side all of my Clash cards out for Kano. Like, after siding all of them out, I'll be still left with like 2 Test of Strengths. And
wow.
I think that's like a thing you have to live with. You have to make choices for your sideboard, because you just have to pray you don't match into a Kano. I matched into 3 of them that weekend, but like worked out well. But statistically, you're not supposed to get 3 Kanos.
I mean,
and
for sure.
Yeah. Then I think the performance bonus was unironically quite funny into Kano, because the first time there was a Kano, and it was his first time seeing this card, and he was like, "Victor, 3 go again, on hit make gold," and he was like, "No blocks." And I'm like, "Are you sure you're gonna let me draw a card?" And he was like, "Oh, this is a snatch with go again." They're like, "Damn, I need to block. Thank you for telling me." So like, yeah, he was a bro, so it's like I had to warn him that I'm going to draw if he just lets it hit. So he couldn't save up his hand. So
that's
performance
so funny.
bonus. Funny card.
It's cool that you were nice enough, to share with him what was going to happen if he let it hit. So I'm sure your opponent was very grateful and really appreciated that knowledge. Seeing this as a snatch with go again is a really good way to like compare this card to other things. So I think that makes a lot of sense when we're comparing it to something else.
Yeah.
So
Then
oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
yeah. Uh, I guess just to like talk about it a bit. I do run the tunics and the pommels into Kano, Verdance, and Florian, and just those matchups. Everything else, pommels out, grips are in.
Okay. So you bring in so against Verdance, Florian, and Kano, you said you're on
Yeah,
tunics and you're on pummels, and against other decks, you're on tectonic plating and you're on grips.
yeah,
Okay. I think that makes a lot of sense. Grip is a card that can be very powerful and very good. Like I think in the Cinder, a defensive pummel and Test of Iron Grip is very, very good. But against
hmm
Verdance, you want to be applying the pressure. You want to be the one playing offense. So being able to pummel something with a relevant on hit effect like Command and Conquer, or even like just a Peck Perfect or a Spinal Crush, could be very, very impactful throughout the course of the game. So that makes a lot of sense. I'm assuming against Verdance, you're on Crown of Dominion, Tunic, no rune gloves and boots, or Aegis and Miller's Grindstone.
yeah. You got it perfectly.
Okay, awesome. And then this is just for everybody else. I'm assuming into Florian here. I'm gonna take a shot in the dark here. We're probably on Dominion, Tunic, Gauntlets of Iron Will, and no rune boots,
Yeah,
and then Grindstone and Aura Aegis.
yeah. You got it.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Listen, there's some free sideboarding advice for everybody who watches this. You heard it from the man himself. He told you exactly how he sideboards into those matchups. I love it. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe I heard some rumblings in the Victor Discord that you are writing up some of your thoughts on the deck and things like that. Is that still something you're working on?
Yeah, I am in the middle of working on Metafy. So just I could put in all my ramblings into a consolidated list. So a lot of the stuff we talked about now, I just gave away for free because we're in it for the community. We're in it for the boys.
I
Uh, but like it the money doesn't really matter. People just tell me that I should make a Metafy so people could see a consolidated list of all my thoughts on the list.
Sure. No, it makes a lot of sense. And like no, you're not trying to gouge anybody, but it might help you travel
Yeah,
to another event. And honestly, like I'm someone who's happy to buy a Metafy guide to support someone else playing the game, seeing the world, and doing all the things they love. So, whenever you get that finished, I'd love it if you'd post it in my Discord, just so everybody who is a Guardian fan could take a look at that, and potentially help support you. That would be awesome. I'd really appreciate that.
yeah, that would be great. And actually, like I think uh, just a quick
Yeah.
segue that this battle hardened win is my very first win in any event. I
Really?
have not yet, yeah, I haven't ever won a pro quest. I haven't ever won a RTN. Haven't even won a skirmish. I would always be a top 8 demon into getting blown out by the eventual winner. Uh, so the furthest I've got is the finals of a Pro Quest Plus. Then I would have lost to Carlo on his Aurora. So this is my very first win, and most likely Pro Tour Yokohama would be my very first tournament going out of the country.
That's awesome. That's so cool. So you are 100% going to go to Yokohama, or you at least think you are?
Yeah, unless something weird happens, you guys will see me there.
Okay, let's go. So look out for Podchip Pro Tour Yokohama. Um, I have one question, like kind of before we wrap up here, that I want to ask you. There are a lot of people who get into Flesh and Blood and they gravitate towards Guardian because it's like, the mid-rangey class of the game. It kind of like fulfills that like mid-rangey vibe for a lot of people. What's one piece of advice you would give to new Guardian players when looking to play Victor and your deck?
I love that I love your questions. It's always on point. And I always get to share a story before I actually answer the question because of how you phrase your questions. So
Awesome.
I'm gonna share another quick story.
Yeah.
Uh, the very first time I played Flesh and Blood wasn't on an Ira starter deck. It was I was in the middle of work actually. We were manning booths. I used to work at a game board game design company part time,
Okay.
and while in our booth, we checked out the local game store that was nearby to our booth, and we saw that there was a promo where you could buy a Blitz deck and you get two booster packs for a discounted price. So
Okay.
my friend, or I guess my boss, bought two booster decks, one for Victor and one for Kasai. And the very first Flesh and Blood deck that I played was that Heavy Hitters Victor Blitz deck. And we loved the guy because, man, this guy looks like an asshole. Like, my God, it's Jamie Lannister, but a dick.
It's so accurate. It's so accurate. It's so thematic. Um,
Yeah.
that's so cool that
So
Victor was your first game you ever played.
Victor was the very first game. Then when I got back to the local game store, it was Victor was out of stock. And that's how I got into Brutes. I got into Reinar and I got into KO. And
Okay.
a quick story with the pack opening from those. My very first Flesh and Blood pack had a cold foil Balance of Justice. And from there, I was like hooked. I was hooked. What do you mean? I have a $250 card in my very first pack.
You
And
opened the
suddenly I could
cold foil
afford my
balance and the
boots.
rest was history, huh?
Yeah.
That's so cool. What a great pack. I mean, that's insane. I think everybody would love for that to be their first pack. That's so cool.
Yeah. Then I guess time to finally answer your question of of what are my tips for newer Guardian players.
Hmm.
Uh, I think uh, I think Guardian you'd need to have a very particular way of enjoying card games to get into, because usually you wouldn't have all of the agency in your game. You would
Okay.
be the one answering your opponent's questions. And if you think that you love the gameplay of being the one to come up with answers, being the one to do the gotcha moment, I think Guardian is for you. And I think if you really want to step up your Guardian game, it's less about your list, it's less about your specific cards in the deck, and more about the mindset of patience that you need to have playing Guardian. You need to draw the game out until your opponent's out of power cards, out of resources. And when that happens, you know it's your time to swing that peck perfect for 9.
I think that's such good advice. It's just there's so many different archetypes you can play in Flesh and Blood. From aggro to grindy to board state heroes. So I think you summed up Guardian very well, especially Victor in our current meta. I think you summed it all up very well. Um, Poch, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to do this and record this and just be on. Congratulations on winning a battle hardened. That is a feat that I am still chasing personally. So congratulations, it's super exciting. Congratulations to your teammate, Aniel, I think. Is that
Yeah,
correct? Okay,
Onyel.
Aniel,
Yep.
congratulations to your teammate for top 4. It's super cool. And thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a blast. And I took out 1.5 hours of your evening rambling about madman thoughts of a peck perfect enjoyer.
That is exactly why we did this. I told you before we started, people come to hear me yap all the time. They want to hear what you have to say, and I'm so glad we got it recorded. It's awesome.
You finally found a fellow yapper.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.